We will now start lab 7-5. Part 1, I've had a question. How do we line up Shale's periods to be in parallel periods by day of week in one period with day of week in the previous period? So I'm gonna start master the data. We're gonna make a new Excel as we have been doing. We're gonna go to data. Oh, we're gonna connect it through Powerpivot instead of getting transformed. So let's go to Powerpivot, manage. Alright, so we're going to do a get external data from database SQL server. I know my server name is ESSQL1 walton.ur.edu. Okay, my database name. Next, write a query, and I'm about to write my query. Okay, so select trend underscore date search amount sales from transact group by trend underscore date. Let's validate. It is a valid statement, and then we're going to press finish. All right, we got 1,014 rows, so we're going to hit close, and then under design, we are going to do okay, that's under home, pivot table. One new worksheet. Okay. All right. The pivot table fields list contains calendar and query the calendar Table contains date hierarchy, so mine does not. Skip the step earlier. So after closing table import wizard, click date table. So it is going to be in design, date table, it says it wants me to click. So trend date, design, date table, new. Okay, and then go to, now I can go to home, pivot table, and create a new pivot table. New worksheet, okay. Now I have my calendar with the date hierarchy, all that good stuff. Okay, so now in step 3, I'm going to perform a analysis of the data. So create a pivot table that compares performance. Okay. To do so, drag and drop year from the calendar or fields. To columns. Okay. And then month, days of week into rows. So let's do month. And then days of week. And sales into values. Sales is in my query. Let's get my relationship. Awesome. And this is what it looks like in full. Let's pull that. Nice. Something should seem a bit off with your numbers. There are some big discrepancies month over month for some weekdays. Look back over our query and the ER diagram if you complete it. And if you complete it, lab 7-4, compare the query you executed in this lab to the query in that lab. What did we leave out of this query? How could it cause us to make a poor decision? Close lab 7-4 without saving it. Was it? After looking at the one we did last lab, 7-4, the only thing I can really think about is really missing is the actual date. And really, one of the things I can see could cause a huge issue is that the actual date will indicate holidays. So I'd imagine December is the highest grossing month. And one of these days in December is Christmas, like one of these weekdays, but we don't know which one. So we won't be able to plan around those specific dates, and that can cause a huge error because, like in November, Mondays are just slower. But which Mondays? Are any dates tied to a reason why those might be slower? So that's something that we definitely want to re-add back into this one if we could. So part 4, analyze and refine data results. So to edit our query, click Manage in the Powerpivot tab. I'm going to go back to Manage. In Design, we're going to go to Table Properties, which is in Relationships. Okay, there we go. And then go to Table Properties. No, we left out the transaction type, whether it's purchases or returns. That's what it was. From transact. And because of that, some sales may look lower because they're being offset by those returns. So in months like January, the sales will look really low because people are returning a lot of stuff. Added that. Then we're going to go ahead and validate it. It's valid, and we're going to save it. And that is going to filter out those returns, which is going to raise our sales on a day-by-day ratio or a day-by-day basis. That will automatically be refreshed in Powerpivot tool, and in Excel workbook, close Powerpivot tool. Save it. They've been refreshed. Now January looks a lot higher in years. The refreshed data here table is better for making decisions with, but it still isn't easy to read at a glance. Adding some data visualization or conditional formatting can make these data more meaningful and easier to interpret. What would be the best way to visualize these data to ease decision making and insight? Bar graphs. You take the month, you take each, a bar graph wouldn't be, now that I think about it, because I suppose my column, I could, separate it by the month. Yeah. Nope. No. I don't think a bar graph would be, maybe a relationship, maybe like a shaded table would be useful. Because the problem with a bar graph is there's too many different attributes to look at here. Because if you do it by year, you'd have to separate it by year, then by month, and then again for each day of the week, which makes it really hard to read those tables. Bar graph would be okay if you had to separate it so you did each, visualization in month, but it wouldn't be easy to compare. So if I really want to do a comparison, I would think like a visualization with a shaded table would be pretty useful too. That will conclude Lab 7-5.